Bitcoin has not only hit $40,000, it is at $41,000. This is the first time since early 2022 that Bitcoin has been back above $40,000, and it is incredible to see. So this is why I've been saying throughout the bear market, you want to accumulate when people are fearful. You want to accumulate when the prices are low, when nobody's interested, because once the market starts moving, it really moves fast. As you've seen, it's gone from in the 30,000s to now over 40,000 in a matter of literally just about a week or so. And it just moves really quickly. And if it does anything like in 2020, it basically does not give you the chance to re-enter at lower prices. That major pullback that you're looking for, it doesn't come. Sure, there will be pullbacks along the way, but usually they come from higher up and then they pull back, but they don't give you that chance to re-enter at those juicy prices that you could have had in the bear market below 20,000 or below 25,000 or maybe even below 30,000. So let's dive into the charts. Let me share with you what I'm seeing and what I'm looking for the weeks and months ahead. By the way, if you are new here, be sure to subscribe to my channel, follow my page to get future updates. If you enjoy the content, smash the like button. It really does help the content get out to more people. And if you are not yet a part of my VIP membership, I have a private Discord group with over 2,000 members. I share all my research, my education in real time. If you want to learn more about that, the details are in the description down below. All right, so as you can see over here, the Bitcoin is trading at $41,479. And you can see we had this massive run up here the last couple of days. This is a daily chart. And this over here, basically this vertical accumulation, what it does in the bull markets is it tends to rip up higher. So in the bear markets, these kind of patterns, they usually lead to lower, right? We've been conditioned throughout the bear market that every time we have this kind of grind up like this, that it just goes lower. Now, when the trend reverses and we get into a bullish trend, this can be a trap if you don't flip your bias, if you don't flip your way of thinking. Because if you are still thinking that every time it grinds up like this, it's going to go down, that is exactly how people get wrecked in bull markets, because they're so conditioned to shorting these things in the bear market and so conditioned to it just dropping back down and being a scam pump that, you know, they're shorting it all the way over here. And instead of it dropping down, it just rips to the upside. So the best tip I can give you, we have been in a bullish trend since January of 2023, right? When it started here, we've been making highs, lows, higher highs, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. This is a bullish trend. So you don't want to be shorting this. Yes, sure, there will be pullbacks and it is possible technically if you know what you're doing to look for short setups. But in general, it is way better to look for longs on pullbacks in a bullish trend because the trend is bullish and it's much more likely to be forgiven if you have a little bit of an early entry to the long side than if you're trying to short, you're just going to get liquidated and stopped time after time and time again. So change your thinking. In the bull market, you want to be looking for longs on dips, and when the trend on the higher time frame flips to bear again, then obviously the inverse and we look for shorts on rallies. But now we are in a bullish trend, and until that changes, the strategy that is going to be best and most profitable is to look for longs on pullbacks. Now, as you can see over here, if we look at the previous 2020 price action, we get this massive run up, and this may be repeating again. Obviously, only time will tell, but we have seen the proof is here. This is what Bitcoin did in the past bull market, and you can see over here, it consolidates and it rips up, and it consolidates and it rips up, and it doesn't give the chance to re-enter at those low prices. Like I said at the beginning of this video, you don't get the chance to buy back at the levels you'd like, below 20,000, below 25,000, maybe even not below 30,000 once again. And yes, we do get a pullback. Look at this massive pullback over here. Bitcoin went from 42,000 to 30,000. That is a $12,000 drop, more than 25% in the period of about 2 weeks. So it is a very violent and very deep correction, but it lasts 2 to 3 weeks, and then it just continues to rip back up. So people who didn't get in earlier, who decided to finally FOMO in towards the top, if they used any leverage, they probably got wrecked on this drop. And then if they decide to start shorting here, it just continues to rip up. So you have to understand how these markets work to be able to best take profits from them. That is why over the past 2 years, I've been shouting and saying, you know, accumulate in the bear market lows. That is the best time when nobody is interested. As it starts getting higher, look, we're at 40,000. We're still nowhere near the all-time highs. But now people are starting to pay attention, and still not in a massive way because it's still not all over the news yet. I barely have non-crypto friends and acquaintances that are talking to me about crypto at this point. But I'm pretty sure that changes as Bitcoin starts moving higher towards 50, 60, maybe even 70,000 again. And by that point, you've already missed so much of the upside. I mean, if Bitcoin is 70,000 and you only start to think about buying Bitcoin at 70K again, what is the upside? Maybe a 2x if things go pretty nuts, maybe a 3x if it goes absolutely insane. But you've already missed the move from 15,000 to 70,000. You've already missed up on that potential 10x upside or 15x upside from the very lows. So the same thing applies to altcoins. Altcoins are still relatively low. Now, there have been more and more that are starting to move, which is natural as more money flows into crypto. Obviously, all altcoins, rising tide lifts all boats. So that's going to start moving higher too. But in general, there are still many altcoins that are down 80 or 90% or more from their previous cycle highs. So again, I'm still saying here now, it is still time to pay attention. It is time to get involved with crypto. If you are interested in investing in crypto, you should be doing that now or should have done it already and not be waiting until Bitcoin is at 70,000 and altcoins are up 3 or 4 or 5x or maybe even 10x from here. Most people are going to do that. Most retail traders, most retail investors are once again only going to get interested towards the very highs. So pay attention to that. That's all I'm saying. And if you need help with that, obviously, come and join me inside VIP. I can help you with all of that. The link is in the description down below. So now the question is, what happens next? We're here early December, the 4th of December. It's the end of the year. Traditional markets are starting to wind down. The liquidity gets lower in the next two weeks or so, leading up into the holiday season. People go for holidays. Traders stop trading for that period. So the markets become thinner. Doesn't mean the markets have to drop. Lower liquidity can also mean that markets are easily manipulated to the upside. But in general, everything slows down a bit and then continues in January. So look, with Bitcoin, we are going to get a pullback at some point, just like we did in 2020. We are going to at some point get a 5 or a 10 or maybe even a $15,000 pullback, probably very sharp in a period of 2 or 3 weeks in the same time, in the same fashion as it did in 2020. And then that's going to wreck a lot of people. So you want to be careful buying with leverage, especially with leverage after it's made such a move up. You want to be looking for those leveraged longs on the pullback. So, if you haven't gotten in, it's not the time to start chasing it here at 41,000. Maybe it continues to 45 or 50 in one go. But at the same time, the higher it goes in one go without that pullback, the higher the risk becomes that if you are longing this with leverage, at some point you get a flush and everyone gets wrecked. So again, with leverage, you want a different strategy. You want to be buying those dips and you don't want to be FOMO chasing anything, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or altcoins. Okay, you want to be careful with that. And obviously you want to manage your risk. But when it comes to spot, also, you have to consider, are you going to be buying Bitcoin here at 40K? Or are you willing to wait for that next pullback whenever it comes? And again, my thoughts here are Bitcoin is already up so much. What is the upside potential versus potentially Ethereum versus the lower cap altcoins? And if you're going to look for the biggest multiples, that still lies in altcoins, in my opinion, and not necessarily in Bitcoin or Ethereum at this point. So when is this going to stop? Well, the target, in my opinion, which I've been saying for a while, is this high, and that coincides also with the Fibonacci Golden Pocket and the 0.70. So that is basically a level here between about 48,000 and 53,000. That is, in my opinion, the target. Now, what I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, is this going to run straight up here in the next few weeks? And as we've seen with Bitcoin, I mean, it went from basically 25 to 40 in a period of 6 weeks. So can it go from 41 to 50 even before the end of the year? Yes, it's possible. It just depends how much momentum is behind this. It really does look to me like this is being a front run for some sort of ETF approval that we might just get in January. Again, Bloomberg analysts have estimated a 90% approval rate for this Bitcoin spot ETF in January. So maybe people in the know have been bidding this up like crazy because they know what's coming. And then potentially massive amounts of money are going to start flowing in through these ETFs, continuing with my whole front run theory that we just see a massive bull market for the next 6 to 9 months and peak somewhere in Q3 of 2024. Okay, that is completely a possibility. Now, are we going to get a pullback here around 41 or 42, or do we just keep going? That is something that we have to keep an eye on. And the best way to do that is really to look at the lower time frames, the 4 hourly, the 1 hourly. Look for a break in market structure to the downside. Keep an eye on leverage liquidation levels. If there's too many people who are simply longing this and it's just getting too much offsides, we're going to see a flush at some point to the downside. But for now, all this time during this grind up, a lot of people were still shorting it and we continue to rip higher. So if we continue higher to this $48,000 to $53,000 level in one go in the next few weeks, I would start being cautious and maybe expect some sort of pullback in January, right? If we just go straight up, maybe we get some sort of pullback here and then continue higher into the halving. That is completely a possibility where we go maybe to 50 or 52,000, drop back all the way to 40,000 and then continue to move on to all-time highs and beyond in 2024. This vertical line, by the way, is the halving in April. So my guess is going to be that we are going to be somewhere around this level between 48 and 53,000 by the time of the halving. Let's see, obviously, as we get closer to that, we can make better adjustments to that potential target. It really depends. Do we go straight up now and pull back, or do we get a pullback first and kind of hang around here and then continue to grind up into the halving? That is also a possibility. I will be sharing that obviously in a daily basis in Discord and VIP with my thoughts. So make sure you sign up if you're not yet a member. If you're a member, obviously we'll be talking in Discord every day. So this is exciting. Keep an eye on this. Just be careful to not FOMO along. You want your strategy. You want to manage your risk. You want to know what you're doing. You don't just blindly want to be chasing a coin and buying it after it's pumped so much simply because you feel the FOMO. You need to pay attention. You need to have a strategy. You want to be buying the dips after the pullbacks, and then also you want to understand what you're doing. Are you buying Bitcoin? Are you buying ETH? Are you buying altcoins? And what is your overall strategy and what is your aim, your target with that? Because it is important to plan this and not just throw money into the markets and hope that it continues going up, because that is how you get wrecked. You need a strategy. If you have that strategy, how high are you riding it out? Where are you going to take profits? What are you looking for in terms of a peak? In my opinion, personally anyways, I'm looking for somewhere between Q2 and Q3 as a peak, but I will continue to adjust this. My plan is literally to sell everything as close to the peak as possible. This includes Bitcoin, altcoins, NFTs, everything, because I believe once the cycle is over, we're going to get another massive bear market. But in the meantime, there is enormous upside. There is enormous gains to be made during these bullish conditions. And most people still haven't paid attention. Most people aren't positioned. So as we get further along in the cycle, we are very likely going to start to see crazy new narratives come out. I believe NFTs are going to make a comeback, and I think we're going to be able to see big multiples to be made in NFT projects, again, for a short period of time, regardless of the fundamentals or the longevity of that NFT, purely due to the liquidity in the markets, people gambling with their profits, and just, we've seen it before, I think it will happen again. We will see new narratives in low-cap coins, maybe in gaming, maybe in AI, metaverse, whatever the new thing is that's going to come out. There are low-cap coins, and there is going to be opportunities for 20x, 50x, maybe even 100x and more. So I really would say, as long as these bullish conditions continue, it is worth paying as much attention as possible to these markets, doing your research, and trying to find those new coins, those new narratives, those new projects early, potentially for the next 6 months or so, because it could literally be life-changing. And again, you don't have to take massive risk. A few $100s into a coin that does a 50x, or $1,000 into a coin that does a 50x, you're risking $1,000 to be able to make potentially 50K on a single coin. It is a very good risk reward. So it is worth paying attention. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you follow my page on Instagram also. And I will see you in the next video.